Hello everyone, welcome to Papercraft Mix. It's me, Brigitta, and you are watching a video that I made. It's a tutorial, a shaker tutorial for the Carlijn Design YouTube channel. Of course, Carlijn Design, it's a Dutch brand. I am in the promo team, as you know, so my video was in Dutch, so I'm doing an English voiceover for you guys. Right now I am showing you the hot foil plate that inspired the whole card that I am going to make today. Because I love the rainbow colors of the hot foil that I used. It's hot foil from Spellbinders. And yeah, I think it's so beautiful, and I based my color scheme or my color palette from this card on that foiled word. Here I'm showing you the A6, the new A6 background die from Carlijn with the hearts. I did make it a shaker before when we were crafting for the release, so before the release came out, I already made the shaker card with this die set, as you can see. But then I only made two compartments shaker with 3D tape, so up left and right. How do you say that in English? Well, up left and right below I made it shaker, because if you made the A6 size a total shaker, I think you need so much shaker material and it never lies where you want it. So I am going to make this shaker as I always do. I'm going to cut the heart piece out 6 times out of cardboard, and then you have all the little hearts as a shaker compartment. So if you lay your card down or you place it right up, you will always see the shakers everywhere on your card. I hope you understand what I mean. Here I'm showing you the cardboard that I use for my shaker layers. It's always empty pizza boxes or cook boxes that we, cookie boxes I must say, that we keep. And of course I need some acetate for the shaker window. And yeah, I am debating when I started the project if I was doing the small heart inlays as well, because it comes with small heart inlays, as you can see. I didn't do that in the end. Here I'm showing you the stamp sets that I used. This is one from the new release, and I used the tiny words from that, and I used some text from this stamp set. It's an older one, it's a glitter stamp set. All sayings in Dutch, so not really interesting for you guys that don't speak Dutch. Our dog needed some attention. He's already 14 years old, so he needs a little bit more attention nowadays. Here I did show you the word kanjer again, and that's because I wanted to show you the ice ink inks that I'm going to use, that are inks that work exactly the same as the Distress inks from Ranger. I chose the colors matching my words, and here I am also showing you some of the things I am going to use to make the shaker mix for the shaker card. The inking as well as the mixing, I am doing that fast forward because otherwise the video will take too long. I also am going to splatter with acrylic, or no, with metallic watercolors, and I'm going to splatter with acrylic paints. And here I'm showing you that I'm going to cut out the A6 background out of white cardstock. And the layering piece with the stitching I am going to cut out of paper that is really smooth, that is really nice to ink blend on. And after I've done that, of course, I need to cut it out together. I'm going to tape it together with the heart die, because that will be the front of the shaker. And of course I am also going to cut them both out of the pizza cardboard to make all the layers for my shaker and to give it depth. I did that off camera because, well, watching someone die cut is really boring. So that's the base piece that will hold our shaker. That's the piece that we are going to ink blend on. And of course I cut out my acetate and I cut out 6 layers of the pizza box. I already glued 5 layers together here, and in this video I will put on the last one. And I did keep the dies together with the tape because I need the same cutout of the ink blended paper later on. So yeah, that's what I'm showing and telling here in Dutch. Now, when you cut all those layers out with the hard die, of course you get a lot of hearts and hard outlines, and I am keeping those of course because you can use them later on different projects. You can ink them or paint them. There's also a small heart that comes with that die set, so that you can also cut out one heart if you want. And of course when you use the cardboard and then you add your pattern paper or your ink, then you get a really sturdy embellishment. So yeah, keeping those hearts, of course, not going to throw them away. Here I am gluing down the last piece of cardboard. I am using a liquid glue. Yeah, that's the most handy. It's the glue that I always use, and that's here from our local Action store. Just white glue, and it works really well. Dries clear also. Well, that doesn't matter for this of course, but it's really nice glue, and it's really cheap, and it works works fine. So yeah, now I'm going to glue down the final piece of my shaker, well, of the cardboard for the shaker, and that needs to be lined up perfectly of course, otherwise it will look really odd when you will make the shaker later on, when you put it together. And I think I'm going to put it aside now and putting my small die cutting machine on it so that the layers can really stick together well. It does need some time to grab all together. I hope that I explained it well, you know what I mean. Something heavy will take care for all the layers to attach together really well. What am I going to do now? Oh, I see I am going to take out my inks, and I really love the colors that I chose. And can I read them? It's Encre, Cerise and Aurore, again from the Ice Ink die inks. And I'm going to ink blend my background, and I am going to fast forward that. So this is my magnetic mat that I have, also from our local store. Works perfect for ink blending, and also for when I use my stencils from Dutch Doobadoo, the tracing stencils that you need to cut out. So yeah, it works perfectly. And yeah, I think the fast forwarding will start really soon, because yeah, the ink blending takes a little bit of time, and I think it's boring to watch that. Well, that's my opinion, so that's why I fast forward it. So now I can ink blend really fast. Love the beautiful yellow color. I always like bright colors, but as well pastels. But yeah, we are going to spring summer. I'm really looking forward to that. It's really cold here in the Netherlands, and especially really wet, a lot of rain, etc. We did get some snow, but not so much. We mostly get rain here, so really boring, dark and gray, gloomy outside. So these bright colors, they make me really happy. And on the day that I made this card, well, it was also a gloomy day, so yeah, really nice to bring some color in the day with this ink blending. Love the purple. Lately I am using purple a lot more in my crafting. I'm really feeling it. Pink as well, of course, it stays my favorite color, but yeah, the purple is beautiful as well. And these Ice Ink inks, they blend really well. They really do the same thing as the Distress inks from Ranger. In a future video, in this weekend or the upcoming week, I am also doing ink blending for a card, but there I use some cheaper inks that I bought at our local store, because I'm going to do a workshop for a group of my girlfriends that don't craft. So I bought the cheaper inks for them because everything is for the first time for them. And I really wanted to try it out, and I am showing those in a video as well. And yeah, they really blend a lot less easy as these ice inks and the oxide or the inks, the distress inks from Ranger, from Tim Holtz. But yeah, of course, the price is also better. Here you can see that I cut out the hard panel after I finished all the inking. I love the colors, how they came out against the white. They really pop with the white background. So I am going to keep my sequin mix also really light. Here I am showing and telling you that of course I am going to keep those hearts as well. If I glue them onto the cardboard hearts, I really have nice sturdy embellishments. So yes, and I do think we are going to splatter right now, and I am going to start, yes, with my metallic watercolors, water paints. I'm wetting them here, and I do think I'm going to mix a little bit of them. I have my splattering, how do you call it, that one that I'm going to show, but you will see it in a minute. It gives really small splatters that you can hardly see, so I was not really happy with that result. So I do think after this brush I am going to take another brush that will make a little bit of bigger splatters. I really love to use the metallic on the backgrounds, on mixed media backgrounds. I really like that. Always gives a nice touch of some extra glare and glitter. And you all know how I love the glitter. So here I am searching for the other brush. Of course, I did not prepare to use the other brush, so I needed a small search for it. But I found it rather quickly. Here it is already. And you will see this brush does make a little bit of bigger splatters that you will see on my background, on my ink background. But I was not satisfied after I've done this. You will see that in a minute, because I am going to add some acrylic paint splatters as well, in black and in white. And lately I almost 100% of the time use my Molotov markers for that. Really easy if you give them, if you use them with your scissors, then you get nice splatters. Here I am showing you how you start with your Molotov markers, acrylic markers. Of course you have to take care of the brush, the tip, that you get the paint into your tip. I don't think I need to tell you all that. That's what I'm doing here, and then I'm going to take big scissors to splatter the white and the black acrylic paint for some extra depth in the background, and especially the black splatters give a beautiful contrast on this piece. So yeah, that's what we are looking at right now. Now comes the black one. Really love them. In the store where I always buy them, they have all the colors from Molotov. But I do think they are rather pricey, so that's why till now I only have the black and the white ones. But they work perfectly for fine splattering. I use them an awful lot. So that finishes the background for our shaker. And that of course needs to dry. So I am putting it aside, and here it was already dry. I did wait half an hour to dry, and I already attached the acetate piece to the front piece as well. I am explaining here that I only used the double-sided tape for the acetate piece, and I already put extra double-sided tape on top to glue it to the shaker later on. But then I am going to use extra liquid glue. Here I'm showing you that I did color the sides of the cardboard of the shaker here with a gold marker. But I really don't like to look at the plain cardboard when I make a shaker, and you don't see a lot of it when it's all put together. But if someone watches it from the sides, then you would see the plain cardboard, and I don't like that. So I always color it with a marker. And I do think now we are going to mix our sequins. And I am fast forwarding, well, that's a difficult word to say quickly. I am doing this also really quick. Because yeah, that also takes some time. Here I only added the sequins that I had, but I always want some tiny beads in the shakers as well, because they make such a nice noise when you shake them. And here I thought, well, I don't think I have enough, so I added extra, and of course, when we are finished, you will see that we have left, that I made too much. But I will keep that, of course, and I can use it in new shakers that I am going to make in the future. I do love the colors that I used. It's a really light sequin mix, but I wanted that because I wanted the colors of the ink blending to pop in the card. And the hearts are really small compartments, so I cannot use big sequins or clay pieces. I always also like to use clay pieces in my shakers, but you cannot put them into the small hearts. That's really too small, so then it would not shake. Here I am putting the total shaker on my background piece, on the A6 background, and again using liquid glue, because that adheres really well. And you don't want openings on the side, of course, because then you will lose all your shaker bits when you are shaking this card, or when the recipient will shake this card. So you have to be mindful for that. And you need glue everywhere, of course, because you have such a lot of compartments, or yeah, you know what I mean. It needs to be really glued well. Here I see that I'm not in frame really well. It was a long time since I did a big tutorial like this. Lately I am doing it a little bit more. I am also doing Facebook Live, so crafting on Facebook Live on the Carlijn Design Facebook group. First time I was so scared that it would not go really well, but it went well, and I had a lot of fun and people liked it. So yes, I'm really loving to do the Facebook Lives now. Here I'm showing you the sentiment that I stamped. I did it off camera. It says extra glitter for you, from a stamp set from Carlijn. And I am going to stamp something else. And I don't remember what it is, so it will be a surprise for me when I do it right now. Oh, it's just thank you. Thank you in Dutch. It says thank you, Kanje, extra glitter for you. That's what it says. And you see it did not stamp really well, so I have to do it again. And I am cleaning the extra ink away from my stamp. And now it is totally done. Needs to dry, of course. I can't remember what I started on after this, what I did first, but we will see it in a minute. Some cleaning, of course, really important. I really am a, how do you call that? I make a lot of mess when I craft. So I need to clean between my steps. My room always looks like it's a creative explosion that went on there. I'm going to cut the sentiment with this small die cutting machine that I bought at our local store. Well, it was really cheap, and yeah, it was better that I left it in the store because it's so bad. I cut a few things with it and the blade is already really not well anymore, and I cannot buy replacement blades for it. So yeah, that's just money that I threw away in the bin. So bad. I think I can cut maybe 2 or 3 times and then I can throw it away. It's only €1 and some change, but the quality is really bad. But it did do the work here. And later on, or maybe right away, I don't remember, we will see, I did put black cardstock behind it, so I made a black mat behind it, so the sentiment would really pop on the cards, on the beautiful blended background with the bright colors. So I do think we are going to do that now, and I'm going to glue it onto the black cardstock, because that needed some drying time as well. Yeah, that's what you see me do here, with the same liquid glue that I always use, that you have seen me use throughout this whole tutorial. And yeah, of course, does that happen to you as well, when you did something else between the gluing? My glue is stuck, so I need to open it with a needle. But this needle cannot stay in, because that's just a normal needle, so it would rust if I would leave it into the bottle. And it did have a cap when I bought it, but I lost it throughout the years. But I do think I have another one, so I need to look it up in my stash. I do think I have a new bottle. I think it's time for a new one. It still does have his cap, so I don't need to open it each and every time with the needle. So yeah, we are matting our sentiments that I made, that I stamped, I must say. And the ink I used is the VersaFine Black, I think, or the Memento Black. No, I think the VersaFine. Now, I do think we are going to fill our shaker. Yes, that's what we are going to do. Everything is glued together really well. And now I have to fill all the little compartments with my shaker material. I have a really cute, tiny spoon for it that I received from a friend of mine, not a crafter. I think this comes from a deli store or something, but I washed it really well, and now I use it for mixing and taking out, filling my shakers. And nothing can lay on top, of course, because otherwise it will be stuck between the layers later on. That's always the challenge, to get everything in the shaker and not between your layers. It would not be the first time that I have a tiny little sequin between my acetates and my shaker base. But today, with this tutorial, it does go well. So yeah. Now I think it's enough, and we are going to attach our shaker window, of course, on top. And I first need to take off the double-sided protecting tape, and I think I am doing that with my handy pickup tool, because I have gel nails that are not so handy to pick up little things, or pick up double-sided tape, take the liner off. So yeah, here I am explaining how I am going to put the sentiment on, but later on I change it up a little bit, I believe. Yeah, here you see me take away the protective tape from my double-sided tape. It's a really good quality double-sided tape, but I am going to add extra liquid glue as well. And I am also putting the liquid glue between the hearts on the acetate. Not a lot, of course, because if you have too much glue, well, you can imagine then it will seep out. And I did forget that, so I needed to do it now. I am going to use my anti-static tool here, so that the sequins will not fly to the acetate and stay there, so that everything will not be static. So yeah, here I am finishing my shaker. Look, there's one little tiny flower that did not listen to me. And yeah, and I'm showing that I glued everything. I did that off camera because that tiny flower didn't want to go off, so I needed a little bit more strength for it with something sharp, and I did that off camera. So yeah, here I'm gluing it together, and yeah, I do love the shaker mix together with the bright colors. Really nice. So now we are going to finish it, and before I'm starting on the sentiments, I put my shaker card into the clamps pins, how do you call them? Because that does need to dry, of course. I do think I am going to leave this for about half an hour till an hour to dry before I finished my cards. I want every layer to glue together really well, of course. Again, to not lose the shaker items from your shaker. And I hope you do like the voiceover that I'm doing. I know I prefer doing, how do you call that, real-time crafting in my videos most of the time for a tutorial. I really like that. That's also what I like to watch from other YouTubers, crafty YouTubers. But yeah, as I said, this was for Carlijn, so it was totally in Dutch. My Facebook lives are also in Dutch, of course, so that's why I needed to do an English voiceover. But I always think it's a little bit harder because, yeah, it's hard to time everything, what you will say about the thing that you are doing at that time. Because I'm doing this voiceover, I think, yeah, 1.5 weeks after I made this card, I made this tutorial. So now I am cutting the sentiments with large scissors, and yeah, people that sew, well, they think I'm crazy now. They think, Brigitta, what are you doing using a fabric scissors on paper? But this is a fabric scissors that I only use on paper. So I have one for fabric and I have one for paper, because if I need to cut large pieces, the big fabric scissors is really handy, and they cut paper really well as well. So yeah, that's my special paper fabric scissors. Yeah. And if you follow me for a long time, you know that I don't need scissors for fabric a lot of the time, because I don't use fabric a lot in my crafting, because I really cannot handle fabric really well. I am most of all a paper crafter. Yeah, I really am. I did follow a sewing course once when I was young. Well, I made one trousers for myself, and that was the first and the last thing that I did on my sewing machine with fabric. So yeah, here I am laying out, well, I lay out how I think I am going to attach my sentiments, but you will see it in a minute that I am changing it up a little bit. But I think I paused the video here because my shaker needed to dry really well. So I went downstairs for a cup of coffee and something delicious to go with it. And after that I will come back to show you to take off the paper clips and yeah, put the sentiments on top, so it is finished. Here we are going to take away the clamps. And as you can see off camera, I did back my sentiment with a black layer as well. The sentiment die sets from Carlijn, they always come with 3 layers, as you can see. So the words, a shadow layer and a background. And yeah, also for the foiling, for the foil plate, she has the coordinating die cutting set. So you can combine your foiling plates, the words, your die sets and your stamps together. They all match. Really nice, and that's really a pro from the Carlijn design sets that she makes. But again, she makes everything in Dutch. So here we are, yeah, taking them away. Almost finished. yeah, I really like how it looked, but I already told you that that's just because of the happy and bright colors. And I do love the A6 base with the small scallops. It's a little bit romantic, a little bit shabby. So yeah, finally I decided on putting the words a little bit sideways, and that's how I'm going to attach the other two sentiments. And I do believe I'm going to use my 3D tape for this, and I only use the 1mm thick dimensional tape on here. I already put it off camera on the back of the sentiments, as you can see, because yeah, the shaker is quite thick already, so I'm not going to use the 2mm thick double-sided tape. I am mixing and matching those in my projects, but on this card I only used the 1mm, and that's as well tape that I always buy at our local store, also really cheap. The only thing is that they just have it in the 1mm, and they only have it in the width that you see me use. So if I need smaller pieces, then I need to cut it with scissors that don't stick to the tape. So yeah, these are the final touches to my card. Well, it didn't want to cooperate really well, as you can see. Really didn't. So now I'm looking where I want to put it. You probably recognize that you need to overthink the placement of your sentiments or your extra embellishments if you are going to use them. I can really take a long time thinking about that before I finish my card. Here I did it rather quickly. So the last sentiment will be on front. It says extra glitter for you. And that finishes my card. I hope you liked this video, and maybe you can recreate it. Try out to make your shakers with a lot of layers of cardstock. Then you don't have to fiddle with the dimensional tape. You just glue everything together and it's really nice. So I hope you liked it. If you do, give me a big thumbs up, and you can subscribe to my channel if you have not already done that. And I hope you will be back for my next video. Thank you for watching.